All right, aloha. Welcome to Lucy's Paradise podcast. We have the boss life mastermind, Alex Walton. What's up, man?
What's up? Good to see you, my friend.
Good to
Always
see
lovely to see you.
you. Yeah, tell everybody kind of how we know each other, and then we'll get into some boss life stuff.
Yeah, cool. So we met back in 20, was it late 2011
I
or
think
was it
so.
early 2012? It was around there at Apple, the Apple store, and we were just salespeople on the floor, just young, trying to hustle, get our money, and have a good job. It was my favorite job of all time. I loved it. The people there were incredible. You being one of them, and I'm
We
grateful
had
for
a
that
such
experience.
a great team of like
It really was.
bosses, employees. I mean, that's a good job, I think, in your 20s, you
Yeah,
know. I
yeah, it
remember
was
always
incredible.
having money. Like that was a good ass job.
Yeah. And you get so much life experience. Like every day I felt like I was condensing, like I was getting like a week's worth or maybe a month's worth of experience in like a single day because of how many people were coming in.
Yeah, yeah. Personalities and yeah,
Social experience, practicing your confidence, dealing with people who are angry or, learning how to flip them around.
yeah, yeah. I think there's such a psychology art in selling that I think is kind of complementary. And I mean, disagree with me if you want to, but with dating,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, because in a way you have to sell yourself, but I find it there's a lot of psychology in it. But
You're so right.
you want to talk about boss life and kind of a little bit about that, and then we can
Well,
dive in.
well, maybe I could do a transition there because I think that so the brief backstory is I had a real problem. I mean, we've talked about this a little bit, you and me,
Yeah,
but maybe not that much. But you met me around 19, 20 years old,
yeah,
and I started in this industry, not in the industry really. I started in this field of learning. I started as a student
right.
in this field of study at 15. And what I really loved about working at Apple was I got so many um, attempts at bat. So many
Mm,
chances to practice how should I express myself? How should I come across? You know, practicing everything you could think of: body language, tonality, the vibe, trying this, trying that, and I got so many attempts that I was able to. It was an accelerated learning environment.
you got the reps in.
The reps, and that's why I loved it because I wasn't getting any sort of success that I was looking for at that point in terms of my relationships. And I think relationships are like that's like an offspring from confidence, from your relationship with yourself. And I think that it's socializing and interacting with people is a great foundation to build a relationship with yourself. And there's other things as well, but that allows you to then build amazing relationships, whether it's a romantic relationship or friendly or business. And that was such a gift at that time because of how many chances I got to get reps. So that's how we met. I mean, we knew each other, this is now we're talking 14, 13, 14 years ago. And
Damn.
yeah, I mean, we were very different people then, but the same at our core, but like very not ourselves fully yet. We weren't.
Right. Yeah. It's so weird to think about that, or like to think about a time where like I was just scratching the surface of what I was capable of, you know?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And you were always very, like, I don't want to get too nerd yet this early, but you were always like very tuned into how you were making people feel. Like you were like very present. Like you always had very strong eye contact, but not just strong, like you could just put it on and just force yourself to look at someone's eyes, but that's not what you were doing. Like you were seeing the person. You always did that very, very, very well.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's crazy that you noticed that. I think I've always been pretty confident, so I'm I think it's easier too when you don't really want anything out of anyone. I think that kind of in a weird way like made people want to buy shit from me because I wasn't really pushing them. I was more coming from I'm going to educate you on why this is so fucking cool. And I was so passionate about the stuff that I was showing them that then they could feel that like love for what I was showing them. And they're like, oh, that is kind of cool. So like, it wasn't really that I was selling to them really, you know, it was kind of like a weird, I don't know.
Yeah. It was just sharing your own enthusiasm.
Yeah. Yeah. And they would
So
catch on.
so much as vibes, I feel like. And like I bet in Hawaii that's even more prevalent.
Yeah.
I feel like Hawaiian people are like, they know vibes, they know it, they get it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's all a vibe thing. That's a good point. That's a good point. So what got you into boss life besides, I guess you're saying you weren't really great at having relationships, and then you were kind of working on that for yourself, and then what kind of like got you into helping other people in relationships?
The short version is I just was not very happy with myself. And I was kind of, I don't know when that shift happened from, that's like a whole nother conversation. Like, when do we unlearn how to be naturally confident?
Mm,
Because I think that kids, like if you talk to like a 3 or 4 year old girl or boy, they're just naturally confident. They haven't learned what they can't do yet.
mm,
So I don't know when that shift happened, but I just found myself being pretty unhappy, and I realized that I wanted to connect with people, and I wasn't really able to do it. And a lot of it came back to, after some reflection and time, came back to just my relationship with myself. So around 2007, I got interested because I found out, oh, it's possible to like improve yourself. I didn't know this was a thing. And I don't know, I just got obsessed with it, and I just poured every ounce of energy in. So I wasn't meant to be a business or anything back at that time. I was just trying to feel better.
okay, interesting.
Evolved over time where I would,
Yeah, and it's like it's funny because I mean, every business is solving a problem. In this scenario, you're solving a problem for yourself and then realizing, wait, I'm not the only one that has these problems.
it wasn't even that, honestly. I just was, it's pretty selfish. The story's more selfish than that.
Mm,
I wasn't, I just needed, I was I was in dire times, and I had like very little hope. I was 15. I felt like I couldn't talk about what I was experiencing with anybody. And I have great parents, but they, I was embarrassed to talk about this with them.
mm,
And I was
I see.
embarrassed to talk about it with my friends, like my closest friends, even.
Damn, that's
And go
not a
ahead.
good feeling. Yeah, that's not a good feeling.
No, but I mean, I had great friends, and there's one who I've known since we were like 3, who's still like my brother to this day. He's family more than he is a friend at this point. He would have heard me out had I brought it up, but I didn't have the courage, and I was embarrassed to be feeling like sort of a lack of self-esteem or something. So instead I tried to like put on an act like I didn't feel that. Um, so I didn't start this whole thing to build a business. I just wanted to solve my own issue because I'll tell you, Lucy, it could have gone like 3 negative ways. I could have ended up in jail or homeless or dead if I hadn't have solved this early, because I was like dealing with all this turmoil internally that I didn't know how to deal with. And I didn't have the courage or the willingness or the words to express it to anybody who might be able to help. So I
Mm,
would have imploded if I
right.
hadn't have solved it. And I recognized it on this one night that I was like, all right, this needs attention. And that's really the reason why I pursued it, not to start a business, to be frank.
So you started off with like a mentor.
A lot of mentors. I started off with like virtual, like just studying everything I could find. It was a long time from that day in 2007. It was a long time before I had an actual mentor who could give me personalized feedback, probably like 3 or 4 years, I guess, 3, 4, 5 years. And I was just studying everything I could find. And it consumed me. I was like, it was my way out of the gutter, I guess. And
You were obsessed.
I was obsessed completely.
So what do you do now for other people?
Well, I've worked with a lot of I've been doing it now professionally, I guess, for 2025 now. That's crazy.
Damn.
I guess I've been doing it professionally since 2013 or 14, depending on how you judge it. In 2013, I started to assist some of my former mentors and sort of coach their clients on our mentors' behalf.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2014, I started to coach my own clients. So 11, 12 years coaching professionally. And now, I mean, I've worked with I'm really impressed with the people that I've worked with. I can't believe it, to be honest, sometimes. But some of the highest performers on the planet, entrepreneurs up to the multi-billion-dollar level, military veterans, SWAT team members, neuropsychologists, prison guards, a lot of like alpha type guys, actually. I've worked primarily with men, like to a large degree, copywriters, sales guys. I'm really impressed with the level of clientele, but we've got guys who have exited their business for serious money, like way more than I've ever seen in my life. But they've like put all their energy into that part of life. So like all the money, right? And only on like business negotiations.
They neglect, and they don't know how to switch it probably too, right?
Yes. Like there's just one cat. I'm not going to say his name because he just got serious funding. We've been working together for a long time, and he's a close friend. But he just got serious funding, and I was coaching along the way. But he's like a Terminator, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like he's like a Terminator style thinker. He could become if you wanted to be a senator, if you wanted to be a billionaire, that's the guy who could pull it off.
Ooh.
But he is like what word? Is there words I can't say here?
No. Yeah, you don't have to name names, but yeah, you can say, you can speak freely.
Okay, so he's retarded socially, usually. There has been the most time I've known him. He's a lot better.
Is he autistic at all, or just like no social skill?
I always tease him for being autistic. I don't actually think he is. It's more like he just grew up fucked up. But he acts like an autist, like sociopath. But he's not. He's just fucked, like from his experience, and he's put all of his energy into business, and he crushes. But with women, it doesn't go. It has not been going well.
That sounds like someone who's like a little bit autistic or on the spectrum or something, because they're so brilliant in other things, other areas, but sometimes it's like there's like a certain social thing that they are just a little bit like they stare at you too long or something, and it's like like so close,
This exactly. He's not actually that. I just tease him for that.
Right.
He's more like one of these. He's like super funny and witty, but he just takes it too far sometimes and like doesn't recognize quickly enough when he should stop.
Interesting.
So we get guys like that, and then that's like one end of the spectrum, and the other end of the spectrum is guys who are too nice and don't have the courage to go where he goes, and the balance is somewhere in the middle usually.
Interesting. Yeah. What do you think is the most like common mistake those higher up wealthy men make when trying to attract women? I wonder.
Can you define when you're saying higher up? Because my mind goes to, are we talking about
like wealthy?
Just money.
Or like status too, like, right? So they have this like thought process about themselves, but like what mistakes do you think that they make in attracting women?
Okay, so here's I need to get, I'm sorry to be weird about it, but I have to get nerdy.
No, you're fine.
So in my head, I'm going, are we talking about just money? Is it just status? Are they fit? Do they look good?
Oh, I
Uh,
see what you're saying. You're getting into every. Okay.
where are they on, like, I need like a
Hmm.
sort of a balance of,
Okay, let's just say they're pretty average, average, um, like athletically,
okay.
so average look. So they might not be like super ripped, but let's just say they're average, high up in a company, wealthy.
I think that those guys tend to be too nice. And nice and kind aren't the same thing to me.
Yeah, yeah, almost like a people pleasing,
People,
like
exactly that.
yeah.
Exactly that.
Mm.
People pleasing. They tend to like, we could go, I'm sure we could do, and I hope we do many more episodes on this. This we can't cover this all
Yeah,
right
for
now.
sure.
But there's a cultural imperative that is we've been taught through Hollywood and so many other sources how romantic relationships should work. If you look at like every popular rom-com and watch it, you're going to see like patterns. And
Mm.
what you tend to see is that um, you got this like bumbling man who like doesn't have his shit together, and he's like lucky to find a girl, and then he ends up
Mm.
with somehow the hottest girl in the entire movie's
Yeah,
universe,
yeah. It's
being
like
a
a
loser,
classic.
and he's just
Yeah.
like, thank you, like he's like grateful for the chance. But that's not really how it works in real life. Some
Right.
men watch movies like Superbad or like Knocked Up. These are like Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill movies. Those, watch some Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen rom coms and or comedies, and you're gonna see that like this bumbling, out of shape loser with nothing going on for him ends up with the hottest girl in the movie somehow, and then but she's just like mommy, really.
Mm.
She's like, oh, okay, I'll take care of you. Okay, it worked. Like it's just fully disconnected from reality. And I think a lot of guys, we watch these movies. I used to love those movies. And they watch them, and then that's how we watch them as kids, and then we learn. We think that that's how we get the beautiful women that we're after, and it doesn't work like that.
Interesting. Do you think money actually helps in dating, or do you think it can be a disadvantage?
I think it definitely helps. I don't.
Definitely helps.
Yeah, I would say here's why. It's that by the way, probably, I'm not really in my Playboy period these days so much. Like even when I'm, you and I have talked about some of the ways that I conduct my relationships and stuff, and we can get into that if you like later. So it's not like I still not really like a super monogamy type guy, but
Yeah.
I back in the day it was a little different, and I uh, look, I mean, most guys just they assume that they have to sort of meet a certain standard they've seen on TV. I don't think that's what. It's just not what actually works in real life. We're sort of battling culture, and everyone
Mm.
is programmed by the same things, even across the world. I lived overseas after we originally met in Apple. I was overseas for 8 years.
Yeah. I remember that.
So I mean, I've been in Asia, Europe, different parts of Europe. The universal principles are the same
Mm.
everywhere. Sorry, I actually forgot your question. My bad. What was the question?
Um, money, if it actually
Money.
helps in dating or is a disadvantage.
Money helps because then you can be a gentleman and take care of the date, and you don't have to and get her an Uber, there and back, and not have to worry about stuff like that or be stressed. And if you guys want to go for like a pizza or go for a nicer meal or go for the movies, you're not stressed. That's really where it should be the most useful. I am not a proponent of using money to impress women, that you're going to attract the wrong type. It can work. I don't think it's the best strategy at all, not even close. I'm not, like I said, in my Playboy period or something. I got that mostly out of my system. It'll come back. Maybe I'll continue at some point. But I had phenomenal results with unbelievably beautiful and incredible, like soul inspiring women that a few years prior to meeting them would have been way beyond my league with when I was broke. So I actually think that women are the less sort of what's the I think that they're more discerning in the sense that they're actually qualifying for character traits as opposed to shallow things like how men, filter for looks. I think it's naturally built in that men filter for looks up front, at least, and that women are a lot more open to dating a guy who might not be like a model looking guy, but if he's like funny and charismatic and like socially intelligent and people like him, so like high status of some type, and he makes her feel good and safe and whatever, like things like this, then a woman is way less shallow. Women are way less shallow in that sense because they're actually more focused on your character qualities. Money, it gets tricky there, but I think that in terms of money, that is almost like there's some women who are just like, I want him to have money so he can buy me the bag, like the Louis Vuitton bag. But there's a lot more women, like the normal great woman, who would just be like, I want him to have money, or she feels that desire because she wants someone competent who can take care of her so she can relax. And I think that that's a lot less shallow, actually. So in general, I think that money is it's more for you to feel good about yourself, not for her. Because I'm telling you, Lucy, like I've dated gorgeous models, broke. I was broke.
Yeah.
And they would want to come hang out with me instead of, sometimes I found out later, they
Same. All you need is a bottle of champagne or something.
Yeah.
Some of the time,
beer, good energy is like the key.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Good energy. And that's got to start with you. You can't fake it.
Yeah. So clearly you've worked with people that have quote unquote everything: money, status, maybe looks, maybe super in shape, but struggled with women. And you said those are the most common issues: being too nice, or what was the other one?
People pleasing, yeah.
People pleasing, being too nice.
Yeah, sort of like, just sort of, it's people pleasing to the extreme. It's like trying to change your personality so that she likes you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what movie do you like? Oh, this is your favorite movie. Oh, that's my favorite movie. It's like, come on, like, is it fucking really your favorite movie? Is really the fucking Notebook? Like, stop lying.
I do like The Notebook, I'll admit, but
no,
I do. I mean, I haven't seen it for many years, but I liked it when I watched it, and I like it. I like that. I'm a romantic guy, but I also, it's not really wise to follow that as a strategy.
Right. So going into that a little bit, because you were saying women are looking, or it seems that women are more focused on the character traits.
Yeah, I think so.
Which ones do you think are the most important?
Well, there was a great philosopher who once said, "Girls just want to have fun." And I think that there's something to that, where at our very core, and this is men and women, I think we just want to feel good when we can and have good vibes. So if I, I don't mean to use myself as some sort of like paragon of seduction or anything like this.
Ultimate example,
No, certainly not.
But you have experience in things that you've gone through.
Yeah, 100%. And I dedicated everything since 2007. We're coming up on 20 years of obsession. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm the perfect example. Absolutely not. I've got plenty of friends who are way doper than me, and plenty of people who I've never met. But I have searched around the world literally and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars literally to find and learn from those people. So I know at least kind of what's out there. And I was broke. I didn't know how I'm going to pay next month's rent, but my energy was still good. I'm still fun. I have a good time. I'm sharp. I'm flirty. I'm charismatic. I'm charming. I make people feel good. I make her friends feel good. They like me. Sometimes we all hang out together. and that I was broke, but still, like, I was more fun to hang out with than their other options. So the number one thing is your relationship with yourself, because you can only get to that place. You can't fake being good energy. You could fake it for a
Right.
little bit, maybe,
Right.
but
True. True.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't even think you could fake it for a
for
little
a
bit,
little
to
bit
be honest.
sometimes with some people, but it's the truth is always going to come out. So you really got to be there internally, and the only way to be there is to get your relationship with yourself on point, to the point where you feel really good in your own body, and you're like, fuck, I don't know, I'm going to pay my next rent, but whatever, let's still go have fun like tonight, and then you can still bring that fun energy that people want to be around, and then you stand out regardless, even if you're battling for a model girlfriend with a prince. I'll tell you that story maybe today or another time.
So, so basically, we're saying confidence is more important, pretty much, than wealth in terms of attracting women.
I would absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Women are not attracted to wealth. They want to be safe, which wealth can guarantee, and that could be an additional point of attraction, but there's only one point of attraction that you need if you were totally broke to get beautiful women, and that's your energy. Period. That's it. You could be absolutely totally broke. And I wasn't even in great shape. I wasn't fat, but I was super skinny. I hadn't even started hitting the gym yet.
Mm,
I
right,
wasn't a
right, right.
I wasn't a slob,
Some
but
girls don't like super skinny, you know?
no, for sure. I mean, there was plenty of women that didn't like me as well. It's not like I'm not telling you I have 100% success rate. Far less. I mean, very much the opposite. I probably got rejected by more girls than most of the people who will ever watch this combined, because I tried more. But there was a few women who really stood out to me, who were just not just gorgeous, like physically, but beautiful people, and who would choose me over guys who were jacked, taller, better looking, with tons of money. And I was like, what's happening? And I realized they just don't have that energy. They're relying on those things. And girls just want to have fun. And
Mm.
I've got the energy. That's why she must be coming home with me instead of that guy. So that was built from building my relationship with myself and challenging myself. And I think that's like a really significant thing for every man or woman watching to know.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother. Yeah, you were good.
Okay.
It's interesting stuff.
That it really is. Do you notice? And I would have. I'm sure I'll have to have you on again at some point because I think of a million scenarios, and there are a lot of like women dating, OnlyFans chicks type questions that I want to ask you, not on this particular podcast, but in a future episode for sure. That I think would be really great to have your insight, and not just yours. I'm gonna have a couple other of my guy friends where I kind of ask them similar questions just to like
Cool.
data gathering, kind of understanding what their perspectives are. But do you see like any real significant differences with like older or younger women, especially with like the generations after us, just kind of like in how they approach relationships or what they are attracted to in men?
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated. Are you saying the generational difference or the age difference? Because they're different answers to me.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, yeah.
are you saying
Well,
like
they
what's
could
the
be
difference?
separate questions then.
Okay, so are you saying like what's the difference between like dating a 20-year-old versus a 40-year-old, or what's the difference between dating someone born in?
Yeah. Do you notice? Do you notice? Yeah. Would you notice them like if dating a 20-year-old or dating a 40-year-old? Like, what do you notice about what kind of men they're attracted to, or?
Okay, well, I mean, it'll get a little crass maybe. The first answer is man, this is complicated, but things have definitely shifted over the past like 5 to 10 years with like TikTok and like social media just continuing to gain so much real estate in people's minds.
Mm,
So when you, because of that, their influence, by that I mean social media's influence has a larger influence, stronger influence on the youth, and especially because they are just still growing and still developing their brains. Um, there's a difference. What I would have told you 10 years ago is that uh, if you're a guy who you're on a slump, or you want to just get out there and like get some experience under your belt before to get some confidence, and then eventually find your wife or your girlfriends, that older women are I mean, I was a big fan of older women in my early 20s.
hmm.
Huge. Yeah, I got along with them very well. They could see the potential in me, and I could see the beauty in them. And they were like more, I don't know, weren't playing games.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like less drama is
Super
kind of
less
what I
drama. Oh yeah. No,
noticed.
no drama. It's like straight to business, and it's like there's no drama, there's no games.
Yeah.
Which was great for me in that early era. Um, I don't know. I need you to prompt me with a new question, because I got 5 different ways I could go from here.
But okay, well, with that, generationally, is there a difference?
Yeah, for sure. Because some of those, some of the newer generations in the past like 20 years or something, they've been raised a little bit with like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and things like this. And the new, by the way, Hollywood like 30, 40 years ago was like they still had some hints of what I find to be probably not helpful in their scripts and in their movies and
Like
TV
extreme?
shows.
Are you talking about like extreme feminism or something?
I'm talking about not extreme feminism. I'm talking about like subtle
Mm.
hints. Yeah. Um, and so it was still around 30, 40 years ago, but a lot less. And now it's everywhere. Like they can see it they're not just watching a movie twice a week that has it in it. They're seeing it on their phones every day, all day. And
Mm.
so there is a difference. There's a significant difference. Yeah. And it's, I don't know the solution, frankly.
Right. I have an interesting question for you, which I just thought of with
Okay.
with it ties in. What are your thoughts or opinions about just because I brought up the feminism thing about guys that try to like split the bill on dates with girls.
Uh,
Um,
uh,
what do you think about that?
um,
Somebody asked me this. My coworker asked me because we were talking about doing a podcast together, and she's like, "Well, what could we talk about?" And then I said, "What do you want to talk about?" And she was like, "I want to ask you questions about like how girls date," because she was like how do you guys figure out like who pays and like and I was like, "Oh shit, that's actually really good stuff." And then we kind of got into like I was like, "Oh, well, what are your thoughts on like if you went on a date with a guy and like he tried to like make you split it?" And so then that's kind of where that came from. And so we were having like this discussion, but I'm curious what you think about that.
that's fascinating. Great question. Uh, first instinct is man should pay, because I was raised like traditional gentleman, and that's just the way that worked in the way that I was raised, and
Yeah.
I still think that that's the case, and the and that's just what I always do. I've never once asked a girl to split the bill. I like when I appreciate when she will ask, "Oh, can I throw in?" Because and I'll be like, "No, no, you're good. Come on, come on. Shh, put that away. Put that away."
Yeah.
I like when she asks. I like when she doesn't
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
assume
yeah.
that she's gonna get it. That's nice. That's good.
That is
Culture
nice.
quality.
Yeah. It's like polite.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. I've never taken that up. There's been maybe I could think of a couple of times when a girl who I've been dating for a while and I've already covered, dozens and dozens of meals or drinks or something. She's like, I'm gonna pay for this one. Like my last girlfriend, I was dating her for 3 years. She paid for a meal once in 3 years. And I let her like right at the end, like one time. She's like, "We'll pay for it," and I'm like, "Oh, you're my sugar mama now." It was funny. We made a little joke about it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but no, I mean, I think that that's the man's responsibility because that's just the gentlemanly thing to do. I've heard some people say that if you're the one who asks for the date, then you should pay. So I guess it depends. To potentially, there's been a few times when I've let that happen, but I'll always make up for it or something.
Mm.
Um, but here's the interesting part of the answer to your question, which is feminism, which is embedded into our culture now, states that we're equal. And so for a man to say that let's split it is perfectly aligned with what a lot of these women going on dates say that they follow. So
Right.
it's actually not a logical mistake on the man's part. It's directly in line with what she claims to believe in. However, that's not going to get you. That's not going to make the date go well.
Yeah.
And so if so, I'll just stop there, pause, and we'll see what you have to say. What do you got? A dog? Is your dog right there?
He's over there.
All right, we'll see him
He's
later. I
he's
want
over
to
there.
meet him in a bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh man, he clicked the squeakiest toy.
That's all right.
This motherfucker. No, I was just thinking about that. I think about that, and it's funny because it's one of the last dates I went on. I don't know. I mean, it was a while ago, but I kind of had a situation like that, which I thought was interesting. Um, the guy asked me to go out. We went out, and we didn't go anywhere like expensive. I can kind of understand maybe a discussion about splitting it if like you're in between jobs or something, right? But
You just can't keep
again,
dating. Then go to somewhere
yeah,
else,
you shouldn't be dating. Yeah, right, right, right.
or
There's that argument too.
use excess energy and riz to just be like, I'm gonna take you to the fanciest place on the planet, and then you take to McDonald's, and you present it on a white plate, and you pay for it. You're like, I don't worry, milady, and you like pull out her chair at McDonald's, and you give her your hand. Let me help you down into your seat, and then you shake the
Fucking
napkin
hilarious.
and lay it across her lap, milady, after you. And then you pay for it and you can afford it. It's just energy and fun. It's humor and fun and energy. That's it. That's all it takes. And then
Yeah,
you could pay for it. There is no excuse at all ever for a man to be offering to split it. If you bring that up at all, you're just dumb. It's not going to work out for you. You shouldn't be on a date if you think you need to do that. It's retarded. That's not
yeah,
how it
yeah.
works.
Well, the scenario that happened to me was the date was already over, and I already like I had to go get. I was getting my car fixed, so I had to go to my appointment.
Okay.
And then the dude like messages me like bothered that I didn't like pay for anything. And I was like, we went to fucking Chili's, dude. Like, yeah, I can fucking Venmo you $20 or whatever. But I was just like, damn, you just fucking ruined the whole vibe of this whole connection we just made because now you're making it about that and I am already gone. Like, why didn't you bring this up when I was at the bar? Like, what the fuck? It was so weird to
I
me.
hate this.
It was so weird to me.
Yeah,
I've told this story
that's
before, but it was a horrible dating story.
that's just I don't know what to say about that other than I just absolutely hate that, and that's just that guy's such a retard. I can't believe it. I don't know why. I don't understand.
Right. Because it's like now you're making me feel bad for it and I'm already gone. So it's like, so like the energy changes too because now this is through text. This isn't even you joking around in person or something where I could like whatever fucking fuck it, you know? It's not nothing like that because now you're making it weird for like next time. Like now I don't really want to like what the fuck? Like
Yeah, I know.
and it was like, dude, it was Chili's. It wasn't like you took me to like High Steakhouse or something.
I've never one time asked. I think there was one time I can think of actually though where I forgot my wallet. It was a girl I was dating out in Europe, and I was like, "Fucking, I forgot my wallet. Can you cover me? I'll get you when you get back home." Like that's the closest I've ever come to
That's
asking.
understandable.
Yeah, and I just gave her like extra cash too when we got home too. Like here's an extra little bit, you know. Like it was $20, and I gave her 25 or 30 euros or something instead. Like that. That's I don't know. I think I would say that I think I'm quite traditional, but traditional the current definition of traditional is different than what it used to be.
I hate it. I think it's the dumbest shit ever. Um, yeah, I don't think and I think you know we're probably just kind of raised a little bit similar in that thinking that you know you kind of want to like you said earlier like not bring like I think of dating like this too. Like I want to do things for the person I care about so that they don't have to stress out, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So me taking you on a fun thing and then even talking about the bill to me is like that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like why would I
Absolutely not.
stress the person out that I'm trying to like have this fun time with, you know?
Hell no. No,
Yeah.
I love to spoil my girlfriends.
Yeah, yeah. Same, same.
I don't want you to have to think about it at all. Just whatever you want. Look at the menu. Yeah, pick whatever you want. It's like, oh, that's a lot of money. Shh. Order it. Get another. All right. We're gonna have two of those actually. I'll say that to the waiter, and she'll be like, "Oh my god," you know, just to get a little giggle out of her and stuff. And sometimes I've done that when I was like not that rich too, and I'm just like, I'll figure it out
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I want her to feel comfortable and you know, just I want to spoil her. And there's been a couple of times like I've had girlfriends who have spoiled me a little bit, who they don't make, you know, sometimes they make less money than they're used to or something, or they'll buy me like gifts. Like I've got some. I won't show this one because I'll show you after we turn off the recording. But I've got like gifts around that come from girlfriends where I know they weren't making that much money, but they'll
Yeah.
buy me something like nice, and I kind of wish they didn't almost because I don't want them to like put themselves out. But I appreciate it so much, and
Right, right.
I love doing that for my girlfriend. So I think that that is the man's responsibility. It's not in line with feminism. And you just basically, for the man who's listening to this, you have to just basically filter out who is not a gold digger, essentially.
Right.
And if she's not, then spoiler, and she's going to appreciate everything. And just, you have to learn these subtle social skills that you and I know to tell the difference.
That's actually a good question. How do you like help some of your clients avoid being used for their money? What advice do you give to them?
Um,
Or does that go back to like the don't impress, don't overly impress?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, one of my old mentors, I stole this from one of my old mentors. He said, seek to express yourself, not impress the other person.
I like
So
that.
express, don't impress. So express implies be yourself. So share who you are as opposed to trying to make an impression. So um, micromanage someone else's thought process about you. Express, don't impress. Expression over impression. So that's one thing. But look, I don't have a good answer, unfortunately, to that question. It's very complicated because I have a series of courses through Boss Life. It's like I think we've got 7 or 8 right now that are available for for consumption that I think that there's a few core falsehoods that have been perpetuated throughout our like modern society that people believe, and I created those courses to correct the thinking around. There isn't like a single answer to how do you prevent someone from trying to take advantage of your money. Like the single answer would be like be able to read people better. And you're like, well, how do I do that? I'd be like, okay, you should go through these 3 courses out of the 7 or 8.
Right. It's a layer. It's an onion problem, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
There's many layers. Okay.
Nailed it. Yeah, because you know this because you understand this stuff so well. So to you, I could tell you, and you'd be like, oh yeah, oh that makes sense. Oh, you'd have like 3 follow-up questions, and you'd get it.
Yeah.
But that's because of who you are.
Yeah.
Most guys, they don't have that foundation you have.
Most guys don't have Riz. No, just kidding.
That's true also.
What's your approach to helping your clients build real emotional connections?
It's helping them to connect with themselves first and making themselves proud of who they are first. So it always starts with who. Thank you. Me too. It always starts with who you are first and the relationship you have with yourself. So that means, when you look at yourself in the mirror, what's the words in your head going on, and do you believe them? So if you're looking at yourself and you're like, oh, I'm getting, I'm looking a little bit old, or I look ugly, or I'm getting fat, or okay, let's analyze that. Are those things true? Is it true? Are you getting fat? Have you been neglecting your fitness? Okay, if it's true, okay, well that tells us what we need to look at. You need to get back in the gym. You need to start monitoring your diet. Less than McDonald's, more gym. If it's like you're going to gym. There's a lot of guys who are like jacked and rich actually who don't do well with women. It's really weird. Sometimes they're like really good looking as well. It's crazy to see this, but it's true. I've seen it a bunch of times. And it's like, okay, crazy. Well, yeah. So it's like, okay, so what are you ignoring within yourself? If you don't have a good relationship with yourself as a man, if you can't laugh in your own company and enjoy your own company, then when you try to seduce a woman or women,
she's not going to feel comfortable.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because that guy's hoping that she's going to fill that gap within him.
Yeah. Well, it's like they say, you can't love somebody else without loving yourself.
Yeah. She can only love you as much as you love yourself.
I like that.
So if you can't enjoy your own company and be in love with yourself, then how do you expect her to do that?
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing that guys struggle with. So that I always start there. It's unfortunate for my business because it's not as sexy as being like, here are the 6 bulletproof texts that you can send to get laid tonight. And I don't really aim to make a business like that. But it would make me a lot more money. But
it's really cookie cutter, and it doesn't necessarily. What's nice is you can kind of. It's almost like a trainer creating a diet program for an individual person. You're kind of doing that, but creating like you can't just cookie cutter the text. You can't just cookie cutter each solution.
No, I think that maybe after you have had once you love yourself and everything, and you've like actually built your own relationship with yourself, then you can there's some cookie cutter texts. Like if you're going out and you're like, I want to find a girlfriend, or I'm going to go I'm going to go just, experience a lot of new women over the next however long, you could come up. There's like some certain texts you could send that are just literally copy paste that you could send to everyone when you first meet them. Like you meet them on the street, you send this text every time. you know, that's fine as long as you have a genuine personality behind it. I just have a problem when people want to just cookie cutter the whole thing. So like
Mm,
there's guys who come to me, clients, and they're like, just tell me literally what to text, and that's all I need because I just need to get them on the date. And I'm like, yeah, but bro, you haven't done the work on yourself. So I could give you a text that would work to get her to respond and show up, but I won't because you
right.
haven't shown me that you were willing to work on yourself. So I know that even if you can get her on the date and she's into you on the date and
But
then you
that's a
go home,
short-term goal, right?
correct.
Because
It's a
then what
band-aid.
happens?
It's a
Yeah, yeah,
band-aid.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm not trying to provide band-aids. I'm not trying to get people laid. That doesn't interest me. It bothers me when people like try to use me for a short-term thing like that. I'm like, no, I won't give you that. I've lost 5-figure clients from telling people like I'm not going to give you that.
That's good. I'm glad you stick to your morals with it at least.
I would love that. I would have wished I had the 5 figures in my bank account right now, but yeah, but it just literally won't work. It would just work for a bit, and
Right.
then
And then yeah,
it's not how life works.
you're gonna get blamed.
Yeah, I guess, or I don't know. It's just not the way to teach it. I would feel like a fraud.
Yeah, I'm glad you don't give in to that. Um okay, I got a couple more. I think I might actually ask you this one instead. Can
Do
you
you have
share?
pre-written questions?
Yeah.
Oh, you legend! Look at you, so
Yeah.
prepared.
Got
Sick.
to. Got to.
Okay. All
Just
right.
in case. A lot of the times things are just, and most of this has been pretty like organic. I've come up with stuff. But I like to have it as a fallback, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get through the questions and I'm like, oh shit, people, so it's always good to have. Do you can you share? And obviously, you don't have to say name names or anything, but can you share like a success story? Someone who, like a client who like completely transformed.
How much time do you have?
You got like 10 more minutes.
How much? What kind? Give me a. Yeah, I have plenty. Tell me. I mean, I've worked with over 1,000 people now since 2014. So tell me
Maybe
what kind
someone
of
within
transformation.
maybe someone within the last year where maybe you were like apprehensive to maybe take them on as a client because you were like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna
Could you tell me like the before and after that you're thinking about here?
before like can't talk to women, can't maybe never went on any dates. And then maybe now they're in a relationship or married or maybe at least no problem getting dates.
Okay. So, I mean, sometimes I work with guys, just for context, I work with guys sometimes who are like, no experience, sometimes little experience. Sometimes I work with guys who want to go out and sleep with a lot of women and get the experience and then find their wife later. Sometimes I work with guys who are married already or with a girlfriend who want to get married, but there's like problems maybe, or they can sense there might be problems in the future.
Mm.
So I'll give you one. Um, This guy, so there's one client I have. He's one of my favorites, and anyone in my mastermind knows who I'm talking about. I won't say his name because he's got a very high profile job. He consults governments. Um, I wish I could say more to make myself seem cooler because the credentials are really impressive. But I'll tell you after the call when we stop recording. But he's like such a stud. But he was in a marriage with a lady a few years older than him, 5 or 6 years older, and they had like a very brutal divorce.
Ooh.
And she had been lying and manipulating him, and during the divorce she like stole a bunch of money and all those different things, like really fucked up shit. And he's the best. Like, I fucking love this guy. No one doesn't love this guy. He's amazing. And he's taken every single course that I've given him, which he's purchased, invested in. He goes through like diligently. He is one of the best clients I've ever had over 11 years. He was getting destroyed by this lady in the divorce, and he just wanted to kind of like give up on women, and his will to try was degraded. He was just like, fuck all of this, man. You know, he's still out there. Like, he's like a humanitarian. He goes into like natural disaster territories and manages big teams to help. He's done that for a long time. He's a stud. He's a good-looking dude. He works out all the time. He saves the world, literally. He consults government. Here's what you should do to fix this. He's young. He's a stud. Yeah, he's amazing. He speaks 5-6 languages. Everyone in the mastermind now knows exactly what I'm talking about. And he was just sort of like, he didn't really, you know, he was heartbroken, I guess. So we connected in 2020. He joined the mastermind. He's a member to this day. And I mean, look, I just told him what to do. He followed my courses. He's James Bond now. He's James Bond. I'm not trying to promote sleeping around a bunch for your audience necessarily, or it's not for everybody. I'm not saying everyone should do that.
Right.
He's just been sleeping with, you know, he just has like 5 new girlfriends within a week of moving to a new tiny country or island or wherever he is. And women just texting him like, oh my God. And then he sends up the screenshots with the name blurred out. Oh my God. Like, I've never met anyone like you. Like, he has unlimited. What's that?
He's figured it out.
Yeah, he has unlimited options anywhere he goes. And he found one that he's really interested, a woman who's really interested in, who he sees a future with. And that was over, you know, 4-year period of him going around the world and learning how to carry himself and meet women naturally. And he's become like the type of man that any woman would be lucky to be with. And now he's sort of like, maybe depending on his travel schedule, and I don't know his current situation with his you know, sort of girlfriend, because again, he travels. So I don't know the recent situation. We haven't talked in a couple of weeks, but he could choose who he wants to be with, and he's not struggling with options at all. And so whoever he decides to have kids with, if it's one or more than one woman, he will be one of the best fathers of all time. She would be like one of the luckiest women alive. And he's not, they're sort of fighting over him now. So, I mean, it can go from, you know, that big of a distance from one side to the other. And I'm really proud of that one because he fucking deserves it. He's a hero.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like that story. What
He's great.
Do you have any final advice before we end?
For who?
The men of the world. These sweaty palm guys playing Fortnite for 17 hours that don't touch grass.
Okay, yeah. So you need to go out. Look, first of all, you need to get your like daily habits in order. Start small. So you need to be doing something every day that moves your life forward, because momentum is real. Momentum, you need positive momentum. You need things to be progressing positively into the future, like in an upwards fashion. So if you're every day eating McDonald's versus every day eating like whatever you like meat and vegetables and fruit and rice or whatever you like, as opposed to McDonald's, your nutrition is improving. And you need to be getting to the gym. You need to be working on your mind. You need to be like reading and writing. You need to be maybe meditating or do something that kind of grounds you, something spiritual. It doesn't have to be praying. You could be praying. It could be music. It could be just walking around nature, whatever it might be, something there. And you need to keep track of some of that stuff. You need to start there. You need to look and analyze yourself from the perspective of, what am I insecure about? And if we say that insecurity is the opposite of confidence, confidence in Latin means with intense trust, like with self-trust, basically. So if you want to build confidence, it's not a process of adding anything to yourself. It's a process of subtracting bullshit, negative self-talk that you have in your head that you learned some point in your life. So you need to spend time analyzing what beliefs you have that make you feel insecure, or in other words, like you can't do something. Confidence is the absence of a belief that something holds you back. So you need to look at what your thoughts are that make you think hold you back, and then try to gather evidence that disproves those negative beliefs. Then I would start from there. You have a pretty good basis. I would also spend some time in the mirror looking at yourself, like not just looking at your appearance and your, how nice your beard is trimmed or your eyebrows or something, but like in your eyes, like look at yourself like another person and spend 20 minutes, a few days a week looking at yourself, connecting as if you were reading another person. Because we all have this lizard brain, like the amygdala can sense who that person is, reading a subconscious, reading someone's vibe subconsciously. Spend some time with yourself like that and see who you really are. Most of us spend more time looking at other people, like that we talk to our friends or you right now, versus looking at ourselves. We never get a chance to experience ourselves. Go do it in the mirror and see who you really are and see what comes from that. That's a really good basis for yourself. From there, I would start by going and talking to everybody that you see, saying hi to everybody, getting outside your comfort zone. Try to put smiles on faces everywhere you go. Every time you meet anyone or go anywhere, of course, exceptions, you're having a terrible day, your dog just died, whatever it might be, fine. But try to put smiles on faces everywhere you go. And every time you're out, go outside your comfort zone. You pass someone on the street, tell them that you like their shoes. You tell them you like their outfit. Tell them you like their swag. They have a certain energy about them. It could be a homeless person. It could be a billionaire. It could be a janitor. It could be a beautiful woman. It could be the bartender. It could be someone else. Anybody, the gas station attendant, every time, ask them how they're doing. Look them in the eyes. Try to make them smile. Try to make them feel seen. Try to connect legitimately. Get a real smile out of them. And then start to do that. And that will build your confidence like crazy and your social skills like crazy. And then you certainly, at a certain point, after doing that, you will notice that you feel confident everywhere you go socially all of the time, because everywhere you go, people treat you like you're the man, because they are like, holy shit, this guy's awesome. Now you get to try to apply that for your benefit. For now, you've been doing it selflessly, although it does feel good to put smiles on faces. So it's not purely selfless. But now it's like, okay, I built up this baseline. Now when you go out, now start applying that to women who you might be intimidated by. Go and approach a beautiful woman and tell her how lovely she looks, or that you love her vibe. Ideally with women, here's another like side tip. I wouldn't make it about her looks so much. Make it more about, like, try to find something, like identify within yourself. What is it about her that actually calls to you? Because it's usually not actually looks. There's a billion beautiful women. It's like, what is it actually? It's either her vibe, it's her fashion, it's her style, it's the way she walks, it's the way she looks around. Or find that, call that out. And then pick certain places where you want to be and do like regularly, whether that's, your routine is go to the cafe, go to the gym, go to the like networking event, and go to the beach or wherever you like to go. You pick your spots and get to know everyone there and build relationships with them. Get their name, write it down, remember it, use it the next time you see them, build connections with all those people. You'll become a celebrity in those locations. That right there, if you just do that, there's a few more I could add on, but that was enough of I don't want to give everything away right now.
Yeah, don't.
If you just do those things, your life will be so significantly more enjoyable, and it will naturally lead to such a level of confidence and social ability and options socially and romantically, that you wouldn't need anything else if you just follow that.
I love that. That was good.
Nice.
I love that. All right, you guys, I'm going to link all of Alex's stuff in the description of this video. Please like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching Lucy's Paradise podcast with the Boss Life Mastermind, Alex Walton.
Nice to meet you all. Thanks for having me, Lucy.